Welcome everybody to week one of our journey together through statistics. And for some of you, you actually are going to be starting next week, but I wanted to post this video to kind of get this out there and get us going in the right direction. I'm currently sitting in my backyard. It's a beautiful day, and going through and doing some work. I like to work as much outside as I can while we still have some decent weather. So you can see I'm just sitting here in my backyard, and got some projects going on there. So I have some cables I have to eventually reattach to the house. But at any rate, I want to welcome you all to week one, and for some of you, week 0. We're getting started today, and I want to welcome you to the class and just spend a little time giving you some advice. Some of you have never taken an online class before. Others of you have taken many online class or hybrid classes before. Some of you are used to a grounded course, and you think, okay, this is great. I don't even have to go to class or anything like that. But there is some definite strategies you want to look at in being in an online course. In an online course, it's pretty much up to you at this point to create your schedule and to make sure things flow and that you're able to get the work done on time, and you're able to give yourself enough time to really absorb and learn the material. In a typical classroom, we spend about an hour a day. If you remember, I'm sure many of you have been there, an hour a day doing a lot of lecture, some classwork and things like that. And then on top of that, you're typically going to spend about an hour to 2 hours on homework that night for that class. Now, the setup that I have for you guys at this point is to give you maximum flexibility, because all of you have different family obligations, you have different schedules that you're working with. Many of you are taking other classes as well. So it's important that you've got to find a quick balance with all of those obligations that you have, so that you can be successful in all of them. And I know there's a lot of pressure going on. And if you don't feel it now, you will be feeling it as we go. So just some little bits and pieces of wise advice that I wanted to share with you today. As we begin this journey together, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is to create a schedule for yourself going into this. What that means is you want to plan out at least 2 hours every day that you can devote to this material. Now, when I say every day, I'm hoping that you can schedule such that you are still giving yourself a day or two off every week. But some weeks that may not be possible. But you do want to try to schedule some time off for yourself. But if you plan at least 2 hours a day, for the most part, there will be weeks where it's an exception, where they take a little bit longer than others. Plan a schedule that you have 2 hours a day devoted simply to not just studying, but to statistics specifically. All right? If you don't schedule yourself and you're just going to kind of let it go and kind of do it when I can, you're going to find yourself falling quickly behind. I see it every quarter, and usually there's some stress in getting yourself caught up. So think about it now. What are the times of the day that are going to work best for you? What are the times of the day where you're going to be least distracted and you can actually sit and focus on these materials? Giving yourself breaks here and there. Go get up, walk around, drink some coffee, or whatever it is that you do to enjoy yourself. But schedule that time to devote specifically to that. Secondly, I want to encourage you to be proactive in your learning. As like I said, there's a lot of material to cover. It all comes due at one day, and you don't want to wait till the last minute. Hey, if you can get the material done by Wednesday or Thursday, then you've got Friday off, and maybe even take a few hours off on Saturday as well. The more you can be proactive, the more you're going to give yourself time to work through those frustrating areas that you're going to run into, those parts that you don't have, it's just not clicking for you. And that comes a part of the other part of being proactive. So you're being proactive with your time, But be proactive about things that you're not understanding. Ask questions. I'm here for you. Your classmates are here for you. But you don't just want to go, well, I don't get it, but maybe I can hopefully get it on the test. You want to get those questions answered. Some classes that you've been in, the teacher doesn't like it if you're asking questions. But in mathematics and in statistics and sciences especially, it's really important to, number two, get curious. If you don't know why, find out why. There's an answer there. And you may not understand it completely at first, but hopefully as you continue to ask those questions and to delve deeper, you begin to uncover some of those things where you're like, aha, I didn't get it at first, but now I'm really kind of seeing this here. Also helping others through their process. You guys are all in this together. We are all in this together. And the more that you can help your fellow classmates, the more that you're going to find yourself getting help also from your classmates. Think of it like a reality show that we're inundated with on television all the time, where you don't want to be the last one voted off the island. We're not going to vote anyone off the island here, okay? We're all in this together. We're all here to help. We're all hoping to win in the end by learning the material. When you're helping others, really focus on explaining the why and not just the how. It's real easy to say, well, here's how I got this question. I plugged A, B, and C into my calculator. I subtracted this from that, and then I happened to come up with the right answer and say, somehow that gives you the right answer. Most likely you're not going to remember that little process that you used for that particular problem. But if you delve a little bit deeper into the whys behind it, then you can take that knowledge of this problem and then apply it to a similar problem that at first glance you may not have thought they were even related to each other. Sorry, I'm kicking my cord here. All right, so number 3, as you are approaching the material, it's really important that you approach it from a certain way. The way that I've seen best done, and again, this is not something written in stone, but it's what I've seen most students be successful with, is to follow the basic idea of watch, read, and then study. Of course, when we talk about watching, we're talking about watching the videos that I posted. There have been times when near the end of the quarter, we're probably in the 6th or 7th week, I ask a student, hey, have you watched the lecture video that I had posted for this? And they're like, what video? Well, there are lecture videos, and I'm telling you now, and you should be watching them. There's a reason why I have them posted. Think of it as your classroom time, right? You go to the classroom, you hear the lecture, and then you study it, you take notes, etc. You read the book. Our book is found in the reading assignments that you see on the calendar. That's your book. And there's interactive questions there to kind of help you go, did I quite get this? Did I understand this? And they're really good. And you can answer them as many times as you need to get the full points. Study it. Take notes as you're watching the video and you're working through some of the homework in the book. What I recommend is, I think I have this down here, but these are the 3 things you want to do before you get to the homework, which those are the HWs. Those are kind of the, hey, your test will probably be a lot like these type of questions, okay? And so the homework is where you start to work out that learning that you heard about, that you read about, that you practiced in the reading assignments, and that you took notes on. And if you have those sort of notes to look back to, and what I would recommend is just printing out those PowerPoints, 3 per page with the notes on the side. That's the best option for you. Keep them in a notebook, and as you watch the videos, follow along with the PowerPoints, and sometimes maybe pause the videos and try to work some of those problems on your own once you've seen it done a couple times. See if you can get the answers ahead of time. Okay, so print out the PowerPoints. I keep myself and for me, these are backwards, so for you, they're not. The second thing is take notes while watching the videos, then do the homework. And once you've successfully kind of gotten that 100% in the video, which is the homework, that's when you want to, if you're feeling a little confident in that, go ahead and take the quiz. Remember, the quizzes are timed. So you don't want to open those till you're absolutely ready to take that. And there'll be a little warning that pops up and says, hey, this is timed. You sure you're ready to take it? And it's an hour, and most of the quizzes you're going to find are fairly short. They're not too terribly long. So an hour is plenty of time. But if you take that approach, and the only way you can really have time to take that approach is if you give yourself that time. Going back to the first thing I said is scheduling yourself. Schedule yourself so you have time to watch every video, work through the examples that I give you, do the reading assignments for each section, and then tackle the homework for that section as well. Do that throughout the week. I have this plan so that Friday is kind of the last day of the week, and then we begin on the next week's material right away. For some of you, taking those days off may be better during the week. If so, take it off earlier in the week. Some of you, it might be better to say, hey, I'm going to try to get this stuff done over the weekend and into the beginning of the week, so I have the last few days of the week to either start on the next week's material or just have a couple of days off to rejuvenate and relax and enjoy yourself. The last thing, that's probably the most important part, is just communication. A lot of what I'm saying here is all about communicating, not just with me, but with your classmates via the discussion boards that we have. We have discussion board assignments, but then we also have just the discussion boards for you to post your questions and things like that. So use those. You guys are not alone. And the classes where I've seen the most success from the class as a whole have been those that have engaged themselves in that activity. So let's do that. Let's really engage ourselves with each other in that. I'm here to help, right? That's what I get paid for. And I love it when people are coming at me with questions, especially when they're real conceptual. Like, I'm really not seeing a connection between this, that, or the other, more so than questions over particular homework problems. But those are fine too. Rather than sending questions to me about particular homework problems, though, I would say go ahead and post those on the discussion boards so your classmates can weigh in. And if nobody weighs in, I'm going to weigh in too. But again, you got to give yourself time. If you're doing this at the last minute, I or your classmates may not have time to reply to you. So don't wait till the last minute. Hopefully we got that sort of squared away. There's also tutors available at TCC. We have the Mark. At Pierce, we have the Math and Tutoring Center. So use the tutors. They're there to help you. Don't sit around and wait till Monday when I can go see a tutor. Try to figure things out on your own. Use the discussion board, your classmates, etc. But the tutors are also another resource there for you. And of course, again, you guys emphasize that I've said this quite a bit. Use the discussion boards that we have. They're there for us to communicate with each other, because that's really how we learn. And I've always found that learning is a process, not that we don't necessarily do on our own, but we do in a community of people, your teacher, your classmates, and it's always best if we're doing it together. And in an online environment, it's a little more challenging to do that, but we're trying to do it as much as we can through videos, through discussion boards, discussion questions, homework, and all that stuff to help you along. Don't get discouraged as you're going through this. There may be points of frustration. In fact, I can pretty much say there will be. Let me just save you the surprise, okay? But you can do it. There's nothing in this class that you can't learn that's beyond your capabilities. And for some of you, you are your biggest challenge, believing that and knowing that you can learn and understand and do this material. I've seen it happen. I've seen it done quarter after quarter after quarter. But it doesn't come just by being a passive learner. You want to be proactive. You want to be involved. You really want to be going for as much understanding for yourself as you can. I look forward to being with you guys for these next 10 to 12 weeks. For us, it's actually about 12. And I look forward to helping you, mentor you, talk you through the material. And please let me know if you ever have any questions or concerns. I'm here to help. We will be kind of seeing each other virtually most of the time, but I look forward to it, and let's make it a great quarter.